Hello and welcome to this video looking through plan and describe questions. So within your GCSE science there are 21 required practicals in combined science, and about a fifth of the questions in the exam paper will be based upon those required practicals. Now answering these questions is often the most difficult thing to do. They're quite tricky questions because the variety of questions that can be asked about them is quite wide, quite broad. And I've been looking through all the past exam papers, looking at the mark schemes, trying to come up with a general way of answering these questions. And this is what I've found. Now, it may well be for certain questions this may not work, but I think it will give us enough of a basis, enough of a framework to answer most questions. So we're looking here at plan questions or describe a method, which really is the same as plan, but they can ask it in those two different ways. Two different command words or command terms, both really meaning the same thing. And they're likely to do it with one of the 21 required practicals. So you need to make sure that you've got an idea about what those practicals are, and roughly how would you do them. So imagine, could you describe how to do them to somebody? When we're answering these questions, we cub as normal. So we circle the command word, we underline key points, and we use bullet points. Then it's really useful to sketch a quick diagram. So the diagram can actually gain marks. Okay, so it gains marks and also it gives you clarity in terms of what you're doing. So you can get marks from a diagram, especially if you label it. You then complete bullets, so 6 bullets, and each bullet should answer do what, so a doing word, so filter the solution, measure this, add this, with what, so what sort of equipment are you going to use, and be as specific as you can there. Be careful not to confuse. Common ones to confuse there is we don't use weighing scales in science, we use a balance. We don't use jugs, we use measuring cylinders. And then the last thing here I've just coined, why bother? Okay, so what's the point of it? Why are we doing that? So we might filter the solution using a funnel and filter paper to separate the solid from the solution. Okay? Now when we're doing this, there are 3 other types of variables that we always need to remember. We also need to remember the independent variable, the thing we're going to change, and there should only ever be one thing we change. The dependent variable, which is the thing that changes and the thing we measure because the independent variable's changed. And the last one, we have control variables. So we only change that. So we change that. We measure this. And this one here we control. So we keep them the same to ensure that the rest of the experiment is valid and fair. Okay, so I'm going to link this on to different videos now. So we're going to have a look at question 1 and see how we might go about answering that. So could you cub question 1, please, first of all?